Well, that famous circus elephant known as Dumbo did it. The man of steel who could leap tall buildings in a single bound did it. And yes, even those well-known brothers Wilbur and Orville Wright even did it. And now you can add our very own Virginia War Museum to that list of famous people, places, and things that have flown through the air. As Newport News Historical Services, one local contractor and a very capable crane crew recently orchestrated quite a heavy move that will begin the process of helping this very impressive museum expand for the future.
This time for business, we never know what we're going to do. It's pretty cool. It's not every day you lift stuff like this. Antique military items, stuff like that. I enjoyed it.
Well, what's going on is we're moving all these large artillery pieces and tanks out of the way. It's kind of the first step on eventually long-range plan of enclosing this space. To do that, the pieces have to be moved so that the concrete can be demolished so that we ensure that we have a good solid base. After that gets done, the long-range plan is to eventually put a roof over this space, and then somewhere down the road, as funding becomes available, go ahead and enclose it and turn it into exhibit space for the museum. The elements have unfortunately taken their toll, as you can see. One of the downsides of being so close to the bay and to the waters of Hampton Roads is that the air has a certain amount of salinity. And over time, that's causing these pieces to rust. And that's another part of our long-term desire to get these things, get them out of the elements and preserve them for future generations to enjoy. It's interesting, any of these crane companies like E.T. Gresham, who happens to be doing the work today, it's a symphony in many ways to watch them take these large, very heavy items in many cases, and very delicately position and maneuver them without damaging either the surrounding grounds or the artifact itself. You know, they're professionals. To us, it's remarkable because we don't see it every day. But for these guys, they do it every day. So this is probably no worse than a lot of other jobs that they do day in, day out.
We try to pick them up together instead of just one crane picking up first and then the other one pick vice versa. You want them both to pick together. That way none of the load gets transferred onto one different crane. That way both of them can hold the load.
The guys were just good. They were really good. Robert House, he is on the board here at the museum, and he introduced me to the job, and he was being overcharged, I thought. So I said, man, that sounds like too much. And he told me some more prices. I said, that's way too much. So I did a little investigation and found out we could cut them prices reasonably in half.
Anytime you're moving large pieces of equipment, military ordnance and weaponry like this, you never know what can happen. You're dealing with tremendous amounts of weight, which can be quite surprising. And of course, these have been rendered so that they're not able to move under their own power. So they're having to be manipulated into position. So yeah, there's a little bit of concern as to how things would happen, but fortunately everything's going fine. This is just a temporary move, moving these pieces. They're still in Huntington Park and can be seen. The one that has been moved where our old atomic cannon used to be, which is now out front, that self-propelled gun is a Cold War piece. That will be permanently where it's located now in front of the museum on that concrete pad. Once the new concrete pad is put in where these have been removed from, they will go back onto that, and then that'll be enclosed at a later date with fundraising efforts and funds that come in that allow us to be able to enclose that, put a roof over it, and begin interpretation and restoration and conservation of these pieces. But they're here adjacent to the museum in the park, so they can still be seen and enjoyed. Well, it's a good sign because it's progress and it's moving forward. So we know that the new pad will be put in that'll allow us to actually put a roof and an enclosure and have more interpretive space. And it's a win for everybody. It's great for us. We can do more interpretation. It's great for the public, and patrons can come in and have a greater experience going through the Virginia War Museum.